How do you feel about that conversation, Stephen?
It's like every single one of those.
Oh dear.
What?
It's always people who introduce themselves as doctors or professors or PhDs or like what the.
I mean, to be fair, it's like everybody, right? But I mean, to be fair, also, I don't know if you've heard me talk to that Eilert.
Ain't that Wolf?
Oh yeah, whatever.
Wolf.
They do the same thing on the Zionist side too. When you're talking to a Zionist, ooh, man, their history, everything is white.
And they all write books that have like no citations in them and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
stupid.
pop intellectuals.
But whatever.
My favorite was Herzl asking for the Nile to the Euphrates at the 1919 Paris conference. That was my favorite one. Do you know when Herzl died?
He died in like 1904?
Yeah.
Basic.
Also,
can you prove it wasn't his ghost?
The Zionist map that they actually asked for in 1919 was only this.
Okay, we get it.
So,
you're an Israeli simp now. Hassan already knows this.
Yeah.
You've already been identified.
Man, he's been covering me for 3 days now. Hassan? Yeah.
Yeah, basic.
3 days of box content.
We're finally getting some real attention.
Uh-huh. The kind we all crave, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to be a real streamer soon.
By the way, you don't need to be so dismissive of international law. The problem with international law is that they just don't interpret it properly, right? Like,
I mean, there's that, but also just like people need to, like I would argue there's like a strongish foundation. I'm like 51% on the side that all of the occupations are illegal. Or I'm sorry, that all of the settlements are illegal.
yeah.
Like Israel lives in both worlds. I think it can be a legitimate argument that, well, it's not like a formal occupation, so we should be able to build here. And I think you can make the argument that it's not apartheid because it's they're an occupied people, but you can't have both of those be the same at the same time.
Yeah, you can need.
Yeah, like if you want to expand into the territory, okay, fine, but then you're saying it's not occupied, so they've got to be able to vote. And it's like, oh, if you're saying they can't vote and you're expanding in there, well, then you're literally building homes on people that you're militarily occupying. You can't do both at the same time.
Well, I think it's also. I think when people say that they need to abide by international law, the problem is that the only law that matters really is 242 for withdrawal, but there's obviously like two parts of it and one gets ignored. It's like one part says withdrawal from territories, the other part says termination of belligerency, acknowledgement of sovereignty, territorial integrity, independence, peace within secure and recognized boundaries. And that's why they're not saying, but everyone takes international law and the ICJ statements and everything as a way to say, you have to withdraw unilaterally. Like that's the subtext of what they're saying, right? It's the dog whistle.
But both sides have memed themselves into literally impossible positions as well, right? Hold on, I'm turning up the AC.
Both sides.
Both sides have memed themselves, right?
Yeah.
The Palestinians have created this like insane refugee problem where every single fucking descendant of a Palestinian is now a fucking refugee, and the Israelis are like, we're not really sure what we're going to do in the West Bank, but in the meantime, let's move 700,000 people into there. And now both of them, the Palestinians are like, well, we want every single person to go back, and Jewish people are like, well, you're fucking retarded. And then Jewish people are like, well, we just want to have just the places where our citizens live. And it's like, okay, well, you have like almost 1 million of them here now, so what are we going to do?
Then you're destroying the state, yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid. They deserve each other. They really do. And you know what? That's what we learned when we were in Israel. They're the same. Both sides of them. They all drink too much coffee.
Yeah.
They all drink too much coffee. They all wear shoes inside. Yep.
No, wait, they don't wear shoes inside, do they? They take shoes off
no,
is there
they all
indifferent?
wear shoes inside.
Oh yeah, they wear shoes inside.
Yeah, they did. They're all crazy, and they all deserve each other, okay?
I don't know what the shoes have to do with anything, but they do drink a lot of coffee. Rip.
Oh, you're just breaking my shit.
So they're just wired the whole time on fucking incredibly thick coffee.
You can just speak into this microphone.
It's like if you stuck this it's like if you stuck this muffler into a fucking blender. That's like their coffee. That's Arabic coffee. Like drinking a plimsoll.
How do you feel about Destiny's solution to the conflict? Give nukes to whoever gives it. So I could be wrong, and I really do. That's on my list of things to study. But my understanding is that that's essentially what Clinton did with Bosnia. Didn't he basically go into both sides and he said, like, there are restrictions on both of you on who you're allowed to attack and what you're going to do, and whichever one of you can't figure this out, like all the restrictions are getting lifted on the other side, and then like fuck you. Isn't that essentially what the U.S. did when it came to resolving the that might be like a ridiculous oversimplification. I'd have to.
I don't know actually how that war ended, so couldn't tell you.
Just Google
I know
it.
more about Kosovo and the NATO intervention there, but I don't know that much about Bosnia. In Kosovo, they just blew the shit out of the Serbs. But
Jesus. Then there's a reason why they're the only people that don't like us in Europe.
yeah,
Reading the polls on like how
NATO for Serbia. Yeah.
how you view NATO or America, and then you see the Serbians and like, what's going on with these guys? There must be some history there, I guess.
Yeah, even the Muslims like Albania, fucking Kosovo, they love America. You know, in Kosovo, they named their kids after Bill Clinton and Tony Blair
Why?
because they
we
helped
saved
Kosovo
them.
during the fucking
based.
98-99 war by bombing Yugoslavia. Kosovo, is it Tony Blair they call their kids? That's how you spell it. Yeah.
Tony Blair.
Yeah, they call their kids Tony Blair. Or is it how they spell Bill Clinton? But I swear, is it Clinton as well that they call them? What's the other boy's name? It can't just be Bill Clinton. That sounds so stupid. How would you... Tony Blair, and what's the other one? Oh, Clinton with a K. They just called him Clinton with a K. Ah. Yeah. Do you not know like how Kosovars really love America?
No, I had no idea.
They love
Do you know
loved
Thank You
America.
USA?
No.
All right.
Oh, here's a computer tip. If any of you wanted to know, things
Okay.
like this, you see these cables, DisplayPort to HDMI. Don't ever do this. Don't ever convert from this to
Display
this.
to HDMI.
Don't ever do
Okay.
it.
Why?
Don't ever, because it doesn't work, and you just should never do it. And when it does work, it's not working. Okay.
Okay.
Fuck. Oh, I need to close these tabs. Shit. Will cause problems. Okay. Why is it fucking starting from 2 seconds in? I don't know if chat's gonna hear that,
Yeah, they hear everything.
but it's like really low volume on the YouTube. But I guess it's louder on us for what we hear. Okay.
Thank you, USA. You are my best friend.
Hey, give me another monitor. Fuck.
Keeper. You are the legend.
Whatever.
Thank you, USA. You are my best friend. You are the peacekeeper. You are the legend.
You have flags with Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
They're a very musical people, would you say?
They are fine musical people.
The thing I hate the most about Hassan saying that is that, like, it's just like it's like, oh my god, like, did you know that people in the Middle East can make music videos?
It's
like,
it's Orientalist is what it is. They don't
It's-
think Arabs are real people.
oh my
basically.
god.
Yeah.
They're musical people. They have instruments, they sing, they have notes just like us.
Did you see the North Korean song?
Yeah.
Take Two. It's
He's
all
such
it's
a
all about
large
Pegasus.
loser.
It's nothing to do with the Workers' Party and the government and the revolution. It's just about Pegasus. Have you seen
Yeah.
this one?
It's all that art that's produced independently of the North Korean government and regime that kills you if they find a VCR in your house.
Listen, this is just a nice song about lions. I don't know if you know it. Hang on. This is just a nice song about lions and I guess defending your land from invaders. True. I can't believe Assad would fight such gifted musical.
This sounds like some
souls.
music I'm about to watch a beheading video to.
Yeah, it's about a lion. That's all. It's about a lion and defending your land against invaders. What's wrong with that? Didn't think so. Okay.
What are those called? Nasheeds?
Yes.
Stopping genocide.
I didn't remember it said stopping genocide was one of the lines.
USA. Stopping genocide. Helping small
Yes.
Stopping their own fight in 1999, helping in Kosovo, two men shaking hands, Clinton and Rugova. Thank you, USA. You are my best friend. You are the peacekeeper. You are the legend. Thank you, USA. You are my best friend. You are the peacekeeper. You are the legend.
Was Was this the last time the U.S. got like a basically love song from another country?
I honestly think this is why Blair and Bush felt so emboldened to do what they did in Iraq because of the success that came from Kosovo. I don't know. I feel like they were just high on their own farts at that point, and they were
Wait.
like, "Yeah, we can save the world. We'll do it anywhere." Like,
Okay, I don't know. I haven't studied. I haven't advanced my way through it. Can you give me the reason why the fuck the United States deposed Saddam Hussein?
honestly, I think that's one of the reasons, but I don't know.
There has to be a reason for this. Please, God, help me find it.
Oh well, the Bush and the Cheney and the oil and the Halliburton and Michael Moore.
There has to be.
I don't know.
There has to be something. Like, even when people do bad things, I understand. But, like, I don't get Iraq at all.
So I guess the official story now is that there was really like dishonest intel that was given to Bush and Blair, and it seems like Bush made a reference to this recently. He was like, "I know what it's like to get bad intel" or some shit. I don't even know what he's referring to.
My understanding is that Bush, they wanted the bad intel.
That's what I
He
thought as well.
purposely ignored
But-
everybody saying otherwise.
Because they literally made an office to get bad intel. The Office of Special Plans, the OSP or whatever.
Didn't they
Yeah.
end up finding actual chemical weapons in Iraq? Like, didn't the New York Times release a story about that?
But I don't fucking know.
I think
did
they found like dismantled like Scud missile things or something, like evidence of a chemical weapons program maybe. But regardless of whatever it is, it's none of it was.
Yeah.
because it was everyone knew that Iraq had chemical weapons, but it was whether or not they were expanding their programs, right?
Yeah,
Because they
according
used
to
chemical
Immortal
weapons.
Technique,
Yeah,
it's because we had the receipts. Okay.
yeah. Because we gave them to. All right. They did. There were one of the pieces of bad intel was that there were these two caravans that were said to be producing chemical weapons, but they were actually just used for like basic fuel for artillery balloons. I remember that one. But
This work that we do, the way we
key Bush clip. What's this key Bush clip?
Is there any relationship to the Ba'ath parties in the different Arab states?
The Ba'ath parties.
Yeah. Like, isn't Assad's party called the Ba'ath party? Am I making
Yeah, and Saddam's is as well.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any relation between those two things? Or?
Pretty sure they're the same party, aren't they?
I don't know. I just know they have the same name. Unless that's a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence because they both saw themselves as socialists, right? Like pan-Arab socialists. It's surprising that they were both part of the same party and ideologically aligned, more or less, but they never actually unified in any particular way.
When did Saddam Hussein first come into power?
Sometime in either the late 70s or early 80s. The exact date.
Seems like he didn't get very far.
79. Damn.
What a nerd.
Do you know who he got rid of in the coup? It was his cousin. He fucked up his cousin. Okay, where am I? Okay, no, we're doing the musical Kosovars.
thank you. This song that we sing, memories will bring. In so many countries, you are keeping peace. You are the lifesaver. You are pain release. Thank you, USA. You are my best friend.
Okay, this is like, it looks like, 'cause you look like a normie that I'm trying to radicalize with fucking CIA propaganda. Okay, whatever.
I'm just amazed.
This is basically the same as showing someone the Houthi stuff.
I don't feel like any country loves the United States anymore, like how Kosovo loved the U.S.
I think Kosovo is probably the most pro-America country in the entire world.
Hell yeah. Except for America. Actually, just kidding.
No,
People here hate America.
Americans hate America.
True.
They made a statue of him. Wow.
It looks really dumb. Look at it. It's like his face is just, I guess he's got,
I mean, a statue's a statue.
yeah.
That's like, I doubt it. Does Ronald Reagan have a statue built in any other country?
In Europe, I don't think so.
There's got to be one in like fucking East Germany or some bullshit, right? Come on.
No, wait. Where is the statue of Ronald Reagan? Budapest.
Why?
Well, that would make sense. Anti-Soviet. Okay.
Oh shit, Budapest. That's where they did the Hungarian Revolution? Or am I mixing that
Which
up with...
one?
What?
I mean, it's the capital of Hungary, so.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
the tanks came in. That's where the word tanky comes from.
Yeah, that's where tanky. Yeah, because it was socialists calling other socialist tankies for supporting the tanks rolling in. Yeah, it was
Nice.
Khrushchev who did that. Yeah.
Does the United States have like any statues of a prime minister from another country or something, or president of another?
Yeah,
country?
we actually had a bunch of statues of old military generals from this place called the Confederate States of America. Based.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process.
Oh no.
The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. Iraq, too. Anyway.
Oh God. That's not good. That's unfortunate. What was the story? The beads. The rock.
Wait, what the? Hold on one sec. Or wait. You have a second monitor active?
This mouse is going somewhere to the right, but I don't know where. It won't go to the left though, so it's not going onto the other screen.
How the fuck can it have a second monitor active when it's not even turned on? That's so weird.
Fucked up. We had a whole inquiry into the Iraq War in the UK.
You mean an inquiry?
Yeah, an inquiry. And it was one of the revelations was that there was this piece of intel that was described as very valuable. And they were discussing these chemical weapons that Saddam was producing, which they described as a bunch of hollow glass spheres containing nerve gas. And there were like a series of them, like fucking beads. And it turned out that that those chemical weapons didn't exist. Like you wouldn't put nerve gas in glass spheres. That's like mental because they would be very volatile. Silver bullet intelligence. Yeah, the guy who came up with it had just stolen it from a film with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, and he submitted this, and it was received as valuable intel.
So wild. I'm gonna add some water.
I wonder if with the Chilcot hearing, were they televised? Did they actually film themselves talking about this? Because it's in the report.
What the fuck is this?
Oh, I tried it. It's not good. You can have them if you want, actually.
I don't remember which part of the report it's on, though. Full PDF.
I'm just like, why? Why would someone make this?
The report of the Iraq
they're
inquiry. It's not here. It's like there's so many sections of this. The inquiry was huge. Fuck. No, this is the rock drill. That's different. Oh, which section was it on? Which volume? Let's just open all of them.
On the cart.
I think it's like 4, 3. Not cover. Fuck.
The cart over there.
Whoa. Nope, not that one. Oh, this is about a drill. Oreos.
Yeah, try this.
Why do Americans eat so many fucking? I see Oreos everywhere, like up to my knees in Oreos. We don't
Because
get
this is
them
the
that
land of
much.
freedom, so we have lots of different choices for everything.
They turn your fucking teeth black. This was it.
I know that was
glass containers.
Our teeth.
Try the Oreo.
I'm busy,
Just
but
try
thank
it.
you. God, it's so many different colors.
Yeah, it's holiday.
Holiday Oreos.
Yeah.
There's like a whole section here about this film. I think it's more than that's volume 4. Is it in volume 5? The rest of it. This is about the drill, the rock drill. I don't know what that is referring to. No, fuck that.
What are you trying to find?
This fake chemical weapon that's actually in the inquiry into the Iraq War and the shitty intel that went into it. there's like a whole section on it. I guess, was it on volume 5? Did I miss that one? Or maybe it's just this. I feel like there's more to it, but let's see. Oh, hollow. Oh, here it is. From yeah, this was the SIS report. So this was like on September 23rd, SIS issued a second report from the same sourcing chain as the 11th of September report. They stated that VX Sarin and Soman had been produced at Al Yarmouk and were loaded into a variety of containers, including linked hollow glass spheres. The source commented that there had been accelerated production of CW substances at Al Yarmouk for several years. It was described by SIS as expanding and clarifying the intelligence in the first report and that it was valuable intelligence. The report was circulated to the same restricted group as the report on 11th of September, with the addition of Mr. Mark Bowman, Mr. Brown's private secretary. So Mr. Brown was Tony Blair's like number 2. He was the chancellor, which is the second. It's kind of like equivalent of, yeah, it's like the second to the prime minister in power. It arrived too late to have influenced the conclusions in the dossier. And then they had to later note that using hollow glass spheres for nerve gas was actually kind of like stupid. That wasn't really feasible. And then they say, oh, it was actually similar to those portrayed in The Rock, and that was recognized by SIS. But they accepted this intel report for a period, thinking it was valuable, until someone eventually pointed out that it had been taken from a film. And this is the film. It's like a really stupid weapon as well. Like, look at it. You would never... Look how dramatic it is. Someone thought this was real.
Really elegant string of pearls configuration. Unfortunately, incredibly unstable.
What exactly does this stuff do?
If the rocket renders it aerosol, it can take out the entire city of people.
Is that Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
And what happens if you drop one?
Happily, it'll just wipe out you and me.
How?
It's a cholinesterase inhibitor. Stops the brain from sending nerve messages down the spinal cord within 30 seconds. Any epidermal exposure or inhalation, and you'll know. Twinge at the small of your back as the poison seizes your nervous system. Do not move that! Your muscles freeze. You can't breathe. You spasm so hard you break your own back, spit your guts out. But that's after the skin melts off. Oh my God. Well, I think we'd like God on our side at the moment, don't you?
Fucking shit. I don't know why it's like a birthday cake.
What, the Oreo? It's like a birthday cake.
Oh, they don't have the bit where he's like, as soon as you don't respect this, it kills you. Damn. Why is it crackling in my mouth? It's like crackling and popping as well.
That's what it is. It's like a candied thing.
It's disgusting. I hate it when fucking food does that. I don't like food that explodes in my mouth.
It's just holiday flavored.
Yeah, well, I'm a Scrooge. A very nice propaganda song. Stop. I'm gonna go right up to the mic now. Can they even hear that? It's gonna be way too light.
Hear what? The popping?
Yeah, they're not gonna hear that.
Okay.
Okay.
Do your, what do you want? Do your computer memes.
He's been doing his computer memes.
Gotta do more memes?
Well, I'm about to take that apart to put these in, so.
You're taking what apart?
The
These are for that
computer?
computer. They're going in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've done all my computer memes. We just watch this debate again.
Oh, God.
Doctor. It's always doctor. Bro. No, we're not doing that again. Fuck that.
Who do you think has been the worst person you've talked to about this issue?
I mean, the last debate I had was with a fucking Taliban supporter, so he was a bit excessive. A Taliban supporter who actually hung out with them at one point And he also supported Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, like all of them. He was a big fan of all of them. Yeah. And he lives in Ireland, or Northern Ireland, and he went to a bunch of Scottish universities to campus protests and sent around a dossier explaining to them why they should like look out for me because I'm dangerous.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, he made a document and shit. He had a picture of me in the
Document.
but it was a picture that was photoshopped by someone. I think it was a DDGer with the GigaChat smile. So it's like he used a fake picture. Yeah. But he's still like a political organizer and shit, so I don't know. I was actually wondering whether I should do something about that because he has pictures on his Twitter of him hanging out with terrorists, with Taliban people. So, yeah, probably that one. That's about as crazy as it gets.
I wonder if there's anybody that's watched, like, I wish that somebody could just watch me do like 10 of these like Israel-Palestine debates to just see like how fucking annoying it is. Like on each side, like how like they're just like totally unwilling. It's also, I think my most annoying thing is that like anytime somebody asks me to give like a more like a broader macro perspective, and I start talking about like my issues with both sides, as soon as I'm talking about the other side, they're like enthusiastically nodding along. They're like, yeah, dude, true, yeah, based. And then as soon as I come to the other side, like, whoa, 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 bro, whoa. It's like, bro, come on.
No one wants to cede any ground on anything,
so
because they feel like
that
it'll destroy their entire national movement and shit.
I don't know how much you listen to that. Dude's like, what do we do with Israel? Well, they need to elect an entirely new government. They need to agree for like a UN peacekeeping force. They need to re-educate and do all of their children for the next year. And it's like, what do they need to do on the Palestinian side? Well, after Israel is done, they do acknowledge the Nakba. After Israel's done all of that, then they break into Emiratis, I guess, and have a. I'm like, okay.
Well, they do. They need to acknowledge that Herzl was in Paris in 1919 asking for the Nile to the Euphrates.
Ugh.
Imagine thinking Israel shouldn't do that. Cringe. But yeah, that is quite frustrating. It sounded like you were trying to be a lot more both sidesy than usual with this guy. Was that on purpose or?
I think it just depends on who I'm talking to. I'm not sure.
I feel like if I was talking to him or people like him, I always like have to fight the instinct to just correct them on everything, because when you correct them on everything, you're only going to correct things that are like anti-Israel talking points.
Oh, sure.
So then you just sound like a fucking like Mossad's greatest agent.
Does Zena still live in Miami, or is she gone?
She's in your chat, but I don't know.
Oh, is my
think
chat Miami now?
She still lives in Florida.
Oh.
What did I say? Why are they saying I can't believe?
That's probably a joke about you not saying anything. That's probably why they would say that.
I'm listening. I'm here to listen and learn.
Yeah,
and
that
to,
person's being snarky. That's what they're doing.
I gotta make sure to shut up as a white woman.
Wow. Is that what you've learned from all your red pill debates?
Yeah. I gotta be nice and quiet.
Who's the craziest red pill you've ever spoken to?
The craziest red pillar? Probably that dude that was like, fuck, what was it? The one who was justifying like staying with your husband or whatever if they beat you, like instead of divorcing. Clip that went viral. Endure, yeah, the endure meme.
Oh,
Gotta endure.
the little guy.
That insane dude.
Yeah, the little guy.
Crazy. Oh my god, there was also another one from Fresh and Fit that ended up doing like a Zoom panel with him or something, and he could like not understand selection bias. I was like explaining what selection bias was like in an hour in different ways, and he was like, but I'm just saying, who has like, you know, like more experience, me or you? And I'm like, okay, like your experience of men, how they act in general, like the whole idea that they should all have like 5 wives or whatever, like
Based.
you know, you're selecting for that with your fucking algorithm and the people who follow your content. I'm not sure if, well, it's not even that I'm not sure, at least like from the stats that I've read, it doesn't seem like most people want to have multiple partners / are pretty monogamous in nature, but whatever.
Cringe. Okay. Shut it down. Kill it. No more fun.
No more. Goodbye.
Just shut down the computer.
Yeah, do you know how? Do you need help?
Yeah, I know how.
Okay.
Done that one before.
Yay. You know how to.
Someone in my chat is saying Hassan is a genuine feminist and y'all trashed him for that years ago. Comments.
What? First of all, I don't know if yeah, I'm sure maybe he is, but also I want to trash him for being a feminist. I don't even know what the reference is to.
Damn.
What?
I don't know. I think I was just hoping there would be a reference to something real there that I didn't know about. That everyone was like, look at Hassan, he's such a feminist.
I feel lonely not being able to read chat. I like seeing their little,
Now you have to talk like a real human being.
like a real, I'm
Yeah,
a fake
interact.
human being though. I'm not even real. I'm like actually an illusion.
True based.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's like when you get enough like water and like fluoride, what is it?
Fluoride.
Yeah, fluoride, like what RFK Jr. is warning everybody about. Once you get enough about that in your system, then you start seeing me. That's how it works.
Based.
That's fucked up.
I know.
What?
They want to get rid of me. They want to get rid of the fluoride.
How? So what can RFK actually do with the position that he's being given?
No clue, but he's the head of the Health and Human Services, which I believe encapsulates a ton of the health and things in the United States. So, for instance, the FDA, it sits underneath the Health and Human Services. Who knows how much a department head could do? I
And
mean,
the FDA is the what? Like you can't sell food if it's not approved by the FDA, right? Is that how that works? Or?
yeah, but I mean, theoretically, the FDA should. Something else here. Like the FDA should enforce the laws from Congress. So, I mean, he can't like. He shouldn't be able to just say we're not going to do anything. I would imagine.
Because the way he talks, it sounds like everything that's in food that has like a word that you can't pronounce, he doesn't like.
Basically, if it's like a chemical, he wants to get rid of it. Which is, I know everything is a chemical, but it's like, yeah.
But why is he eating McDonald's with fucking Trump?
Fucking, it's just a talking point.
Did you guys ever watch The Boys?
No.
Yeah.
Do you know the scene where the Deep is being forced to eat a squid?
Yes.
I saw a tweet being like, that's basically this.
What do you mean?
That RFK Jr. being forced to eat a McDonald's burger is like the same as the Deep being
Oh,
forced
sure,
to
but
eat.
except I think the Deep genuinely didn't want to eat a squid because he can talk to fish and it was torture horrible. I think RFK Jr. is a hypocritical piece of shit, fucking loser, grifting fuck.
Whoa.
I know, hot take.
I don't know. When I saw that picture of him, he seemed so unhappy. His face was like one of those fake smiles that you give when you're like dying on the inside and want to kill yourself.
I mean, he might be unhappy because he realizes it makes him look like a total cunt and there's someone with a camera watching him. And meanwhile, he's sitting there thinking vaccines cause autism and fluoride is dangerous and watch out for the fuckalo phosphate itis in your hummus. Like, yeah, no, it's not a good look for him. There's a lot of
red
shit
40.
in...
That's what they say causes ADHD, supposedly.
What does?
Red 40, the red dye, when it comes to Skittles or any artificial flavoring.
Really? That
That's
gives you
what-
ADHD?
Well, I don't know if it does. I don't think it does. But that's, you know how they're like vaccines cause autism. They're like red 40 or whatever causes ADHD and whatever else neurodivergency you can think of.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
At least we're going to get SNL skits of RFK and Trump, and that'll be refreshing. Have they done those already? They probably have.
Yeah, they have. Every time they do a Kamala one, they usually do a Donald Trump one. Or did it in the past. I don't
Fuck.
think we're going to see another Kamala one.
New Hassan video, how Destiny's community manipulates Ethan Klein.
Based and true.
Based. So what next? They have to... The states, they appoint the electors and certify on the 14th of December? Is that right? By
That's
the
what it was
14th?
last year. I don't know if, last election cycle. I don't know if it's like it's always on the 14th or if it's like the second Tuesday of every
Yeah,
month,
some
so
shit
I'm
like
not
that. Chemicals that bond permanently to DNA may contribute to the development of motor neuron disease. Okay, Flim Flam. You
Is
struggling?
she just letting people into our...
No, they said the food was here, but I don't see it outside, but it says delivery completed.
Uh-oh.
You see, Biden has finally allowed Ukraine to use long-range missiles
Yeah, I saw
into
that.
Russia. I don't understand what the delay about that was. Russia has installations in their country that they're using to push into Ukraine.
The fuck? Why?
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 What's wrong with your computer?
Oh, one of these screws is fucked.
Someone in DGG is in stream disagreements. Oh no.
Who is it?
Do I need that right now? Let me find out. See if they're the same name. They're called Frau Wine.
What do they want?
They said they had an IP debate. Oh no.
Do you want me to drag them up?
Yeah. Mostly because DGT really doesn't want it. Let's go. Oh god, I can't rage quit on them, can I? You have to
I
go all
can
the way
always
around
rage
there.
quit us. Don't worry. I got you, babe.
Thanks.
I don't know if this will even work, but can I hear us? Can you hear us? Hello?
Hello, hello?
Yeah, hello.
Oh, hi.
I cannot hear you on the Discord, I think.
Hello? No, you can hear us. Figure your shit out. Tell
Okay,
him it's
yeah.
his fault.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay.
You hear me? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, hello.
What can
Big
I...
fan of both of you guys.
Cool. What can I do for you?
I was listening to the debate, the tail end of it. The biggest disagreement I have is like with Destiny's framing of like the whole dhimmi status as second-class citizens for use under Muslim like regimes across history.
Okay.
Basically, like this idea that they were like second-class citizens across the board in every like it's a huge like geographical area over a huge time period. There were places where they were second-class citizens, places where they really weren't, and this idea that like necessarily just because there was like this legal like fiction of them having less rights didn't really materialize in them having fewer rights a lot of the time, basically.
So is your argument basically just like dhimmi status sort of varied across time? Like there were times when they didn't have to pay jizya, there were times when they could get access to courts and everything else, and other times when they didn't?
I mean, yeah, and the great majority of the time it wasn't like that. You see it in like the Jewish Golden Age, in like Al-Andalus. You see it in like the early period of the Ottoman Empire. After the Jews were expelled from like Iberia, a lot of them went to the Ottoman Empire, and they did really well there.
We're talking like 1,000 years ago for this one, right?
For the Al-Andalus, yeah. For the Ottoman Empire, it's like the 1500s, 1600s.
Mm-hmm. But going into 1800s, what's your position on Jewish status and Ottoman rule then?
I'm not as familiar with it. I'm aware that later on they had access to their own like religious courts and things like that. I know that, for example, like these courts weren't like set in stone. If you were a Jew, you didn't necessarily have to go to like the Jewish court. Like if you felt like you will get a better like settlement from an Arab court, you will be able to like do that and things like that. I'm not sure about as to the other parts of like the dhimmi status. I do know that like Ottoman authority across the Levant was like waning a lot in the 1700s and 1800s. Like in the 1700s, there was like literal wars between the governors of the area, and in the 1800s, like the whole area was like first conquered by Napoleon, then by like Muhammad Ali's like Egypt and shit like that. So, like, I don't know like how.
I mean, I think so the period that matters obviously would be the 1800s into the 1900s, because that's what was in the memory of Jews whose descendants would eventually move to Israel, in the most part. as far as I understand it, in the 1800s, they did end dhimmi status, I think somewhere like halfway through the century. But
Yeah, with
I'm
the Tanzimat,
pretty
yeah.
sure the consensus is that they still remained discriminated against. Like it still was basically nigh impossible to bring charges against a Muslim if they committed crimes against you. And the general situation was always that I think the Ottoman Empire was okay to accept Jewish people so long as they were in a subservient position, that they could never really get elevated to exactly the same level in a de facto sense. Is that not fair characterization?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't dispute that. But like, yeah, like my contention is that like, it's not as if it was like apartheid South Africa or Jim Crow, where like there is like this clear legal like societal divide, but rather like it's more of a spectrum across time and things like that. And that's what I had the big issue with.
What's your name?
Frowin, like name IRL or?
Yeah, what's your first name in real life?
Oh, I'm Colombian. I'm called Juan.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just a history guy. I'm really not like super into like the whole thing. I really dislike Palestine and all that. I'm for a one-state solution of Israel, integrating like as many of the Palestinians as is realistic.
What happens to the other ones?
They can live in all the other Arab countries.
Jesus
Jesus.
Christ. Okay, never mind. I just
Who?
wanted. I thought we had a Muslim apologist.
How do you-
here. Now
how do
we
you
had a Zionist supremacist.
How do you
Okay.
persuade them to go in that direction? It's like millions of people, bro.
Yeah, like I feel like what Israel should do is that instead of like all of these like trying to negotiate with like impossible to negotiate like Palestinians, I think they should just go for a unilateral solution that like basically takes away support for like the more radicalist like Palestinian like political figures.
Even if you,
So, like-
but even if you use that position that you can't negotiate with them, I mean, there were hardliners who said that in the past, people like Ariel Sharon, but even they would say, if you can't negotiate with them, just leave them, like just opt out, like the convergence plan or
but,
something. Why do you have to deport
yeah,
them?
but
What
that
the fuck?
No, I don't mean deport them. Like what I mean is that I feel like what they should do is that they should try to integrate as many of them as possible. Like Destiny himself brought it up that they like Arab Israelis are like some are like very very well integrated into Israeli society. I think all of that goes to show that Israel could possibly like integrate a good amount of
Everybody
those
get it?
people.
But we have a pretty good sample for how that would go, right? We know that in Jerusalem, they can get a path towards citizenship if they want to, and basically like less than 5% of people have taken it, if even bothered to try.
To be
because
fair,
they're-
there's a lot of pressure from Palestinians to not accept that, and there's a huge backlog because I don't think they increased the administrative capabilities at all of the Israeli government in Jerusalem to process people, so there's like a lot of friction there.
You know, I think it's a pretty reasonable indicator of this idea of trying to integrate the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. Like this is like I think it's a fairly good indicator that it would be pretty minor.
Well, but that's because they're not really trying, right? If they were really trying, maybe they could.
Yeah, like if you look at like the average Palestinian, like if I was in that position that I had to like go through like a military checkpoint to like go to like a neighboring village or something like that, my general opinion will be pretty negative, just off of my like lived experience. I don't think that Israel does anything to endear themselves to like the Palestinians at all. I feel like if they actually did a concerted effort, like it could be different.
That's true. When we were in the West Bank, there were like abandoned checkpoints that you still couldn't fucking go through. You
Yeah.
had to like drive all the way around. It's fucking retarded.
Wow. Okay, what else?
Yeah, I also have a couple more disagreements, but they're unrelated to the Israel-Palestine stuff.
With who? Me or Steven? Or
Steven.
Okay.
I know that LonerBox is infallible.
True.
Basically, another disagreement that I have is that it has come up a couple times on stream. I've been watching a lot of stream lately. This idea that like who polices the police, or like this idea of like dismissing control institutions that exist outside of like existing like institutions like the police or things like that. And I feel like that is not like that's not a bad thing. I feel like where I live, we have a shit ton of them, they all
Wait, what
have-
do you? I don't
they
even know what
all
your
have-
argument is. Hold on. Wait, I dismiss policing with the police or what?
Yeah, basically every time somebody brings up this idea that there should be like an institution that like is in charge of like auditing like the police, making sure that like the process is correct, things
Oh,
like that.
because most of the people that are making those claims are retards that aren't really making those claims. They just hate the fucking police. Because because most of these people already have people that like audit. They already have like auditing bodies, or they already have departments of like internal affairs and stuff. And people will say, "Oh, well, I want a different one." And it's like, okay, but like if there's a different one, they'd say that they want like an even other one. So it's like, I don't like. Yeah, I don't. I agree. Like having auditors, internal and external, is definitely important. But people will say like we need auditors without even realizing auditors exist. And I don't think they want auditors. They just want like they're just unreasonable losers.
True. I mean, yeah. In that case, then there is not much of a disagreement. I do think that the externality of it is like very valuable. Like, for example, in Latin America in general, there is a lot of like these government institutions that have a lot of power when it comes to like auditing the government in different ways. They can depose mayors and other political figures if they're acting like outside of their responsibilities and shit like that. And I do think that those things are like very important, especially when you have like issues with corruption and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, we have like Office of Inspector Generals for I think every major U.S. department and like administration. Like that's like, I mean, like what else? You want to make more and more and more auditing things for the auditing things for the auditing things. Like the reality is like when you listen to these people, like here's what would make me take you seriously, or not you personally, but like these people seriously, is if somebody had a single actual thing they wanted to change or suggested wanted to change, rather than this, we need to go line by line and cut waste and inefficiency. What the fuck does that mean? It's never anything real. Like if somebody had a single actual real suggestion, then I would give them infinitely more credence than like all the dipshits that just like say random shit like that over and over again.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty fair. I don't think I will disagree with that.
Yeah, destiny is fair.
Okay, a third one. This is a history one. I remembered it. LonerBox might be interested in it. It's about Lend-lease. I don't believe that Lend-lease had a determining effect on the war. I think that the Soviets would have been able to win the war on their own.
Isn't that what most people say? They just say that it helped a shitload, but it didn't change the outcome.
I mean, it's pretty debatable. I've heard like plenty of people say that like the Soviets were fucked without it.
Wasn't there
The
like
Soviets, wait, the Soviets were what?
Fucked without it.
Well, I think you have to be careful when you do hold on, what is your history background? I don't want to be an asshole. You said you were...
I did a year of history in university before I dropped out, and I'm a pretty big like history nerd.
Okay, I think the issue with doing historical counterfactuals is you have to keep in mind, like, when people run a historical counterfactual, they want to change one variable and then pretend that everything else would be the exact same through all of time as they try to figure out what would happen in the future. So, for instance, they might say, did Russia really need Lend-lease? Well, probably not. You know, they had the advantage of America entering the war. Maybe their production could have caught up. Maybe Germany was whatever. You know, as time gone on, maybe they would have won. But as time goes on and the war drags on, there might also be like increased instability in the Soviet Union or in Russia as well, right? There might be increased instability in China, or maybe Japan has more time to, shore up their offensive power, or maybe, I feel like there's so many other things. Maybe Germany doesn't have as much pressure on the Eastern Front. I feel like there's so many other things that could happen, and it's hard. I can't say obviously, but I feel like it's hard to say like, oh, Lend-lease probably wasn't determined, it didn't matter, when it was a massive boon and a massive help. If that would have meant that the war would have dragged on for however many more years.
I can see that, but I think that the bigger issue is that people tend to overestimate the actual like German capacity for war, especially after Barbarossa. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I do know that like by their own estimates, pretty much like 80% of like divisions in the Eastern Front were enabled of like offensive capabilities for like 1942 and shit like that. Like the German army was pretty destroyed after Barbarossa, and I don't think that they will have been able to actually do any progress anymore. Like,
isn't the best argument for your side of that most of the Lend-lease stuff that came from the United States was after the Nazis had already lost in Moscow and Stalingrad, right? Like they got, so in Moscow, I think, for America, the main thing that they got was like it was boots, wasn't it?
Rubber and stuff. Like,
Yeah, and then from the British, a lot of people don't know this, but like before American Lend-lease was arriving in the Soviet Union, it was coming from the UK. Like they were getting tanks and fucking planes and shit. But I'm pretty sure the Battle of Moscow and Stalingrad had already been won before any like large portion of the Lend-lease goods had actually arrived. And that counter-offensive, especially in Stalingrad, was what like took the Nazis way off guard and sent them just like fucking streaming backwards. So
The Battle of Moscow was won before any Lend-lease, I think.
I think there was like there was some I think like boots or something managed to reach before the end of the Battle of Moscow, but I'm not sure.
Maybe, yeah. But the Battle of Stalingrad was like they were already receiving a good amount of Lend-lease, and I think that something that people don't realize about Lend-lease as well is that it was highly specific. Like it wasn't like they just gave them all kinds of war materials. They gave them some crucial things, like for example, a lot of aluminum for like the Soviet Air Force, which they had no access to, so that allowed them to rebuild their Air Force really well. But I believe that the argument is just that the only realistic chance that Germany had at beating the Soviets was in 41, and they blew it.
The only chance who had of defeating the Soviets?
Germany.
Oh, okay.
I don't agree. I think the Nazis could have killed just a few more Jews. I think they would have had it. They would have crushed Soviet morale 100%.
Yeah. Oh, and since we are in World War II, I also have another one. I don't think that dropping the nuclear bombs was crucial for Japan's surrender. I think it was unnecessary.
Whoa. Why?
Probably the first or the second one probably didn't matter, right?
What did you say? What did you say?
I don't think the first or the second one mattered that much. I think the major determining thing was the Soviets and the fear of the Japanese emperor basically being assassinated, being murdered once the Soviets started to come, right?
I mean, yeah, kind of. Like the Japanese were the Japanese were very aware that the war was lost, that there was nothing that they could do. Their big hope was like to basically do what happened in Vietnam, like bleed the U.S. enough that the war will become unpopular at home, and they will reach some sort of settlement. But there is like all of these estimates, for example, for like what's the name of like the proposed like invasion of Japan that the U.S. had?
To invade Japan. Fuck, it wasn't. It wasn't like Operation Unthinkable or some shit, wasn't it? That was
no.
That was Churchill wanting to invade the Soviet Union. All right.
Yeah.
U.S. plan invade Japan. So it was like Operation Downfall.
Downfall. Okay. Yeah, like there is like these huge estimates, like based on like how many like Purple Heart like medals they ordered and shit like that. But like in reality, if you look at, for example, the Soviets' invasion of Hokkaido, they only had like one battle that had like heavy casualties in some random island in the Kurils.
Mm-hmm.
And like this is something that is mentioned like by the Japanese as well, that the emperor was like, they had like this special council for the direction of the war, where like basically the leaders of like the army, the navy, the prime minister, and the emperor and somebody else will meet. I don't remember exactly the people. And basically a lot of the communications were that the emperor was very unconvinced and thought that the army was like greatly exaggerating their ability to defend.
The Battle of Okinawa was pretty fucking intense, wasn't it? Like 200,000 people dead. Wasn't it the case that I remember reading that, I didn't know this, that when they were preparing for an Allied invasion of Japan, they had literally gone to, because obviously they were engaged in total war. One of the things I read that they did was they were training kids, like people under 18, to lie down on the beach and like bury themselves so that when a tank went over them, they would like detonate explosives that were attached to their bodies.
Oh, based?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That would have been pretty rough.
Yeah, I think I misspoke them. I said the invasion of Hokkaido, they invaded Sakhalin and Manchuria, sorry. Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like also it's bad planning by the US. The US like wanted to invade like Kyushu first, which is the southern island, and the Japanese like obviously knew that that's where they wanted to invade. I think that the US could have realistically invaded like other places as well. But yeah.
Don't know enough to make a firm decision either way.
But yeah, basically, but that is not my argument. My argument will be that the Japanese were willing to surrender under pretty much unconditional like terms. Only they wanted to like keep the position of the emperor. The U.S. was aware of this before dropping the bombs, and they still went on with it anyway. As for the U.S. reasons, I'm not as clear on that.
Isn't that basically the? I thought that was like the Sean video argument, but
Yeah, I remember watching that video a long time ago, but I feel like I was unconvinced by like his explanation of like the US like.
I mean, I guess like the one thing that he missed out, like he didn't really talk at all. If I remember correctly, he didn't talk about how the impact that the Japanese occupation of Southeast Asia was having. Like I think, oh fuck, what was the number? Wasn't it like tens
69.
of thousands of people in Southeast Asia were dying every day under Japanese rule?
Problem.
But yeah, but I will argue that like the nuclear bombs had like no influence on that either. The message that a big issue that the Japanese had was like that they didn't know that the army was gonna stand down if they ordered them to stand down, and the orders of surrender that went out to the army did not include mention of the nukes. They included mention of like the Soviet entry into the war.
Okay.
Do you think they should have mentioned the nukes?
The thing is, I think
the
that
army didn't care.
I think that retroactively, I think that we view the nukes. This is my impression, but I think that we view the nukes as like a way, way, way bigger deal. I think than they actually were at the time. That basically there's like these two countries that they're going to war with each other, and it's like a ton of fighting, and the U.S. has like a slight edge, and then the nukes come in and like everything changes. But I think that by that point we'd already like basically firebombed, like razed every major Japanese city. Like this country was fucking annihilated. The fire bombings of Tokyo killed more people than either both nukes combined or either of the individual nuclear events. Like I don't know if like at the time I don't know. Like, I don't think that we talk about how much like destruction was wrought on Japan before the nukes were dropped, so we just see those in kind of like a vacuum.
Yeah. I think that the big effect that it will have had at that time was like the big shock of it like being gone all at once, because literally all of the communications from the city like disappeared. It's like if the city disappeared from the face of the earth.
Sure.
And that would have been a very foreign feeling, I imagine. But yeah, I do agree that like the actual like material effect of the nuclear weapons, I don't think was that great compared to like all the other mass bombing campaigns that already were in place.
What's the story about how? I always heard that after the first bomb was dropped, they convened an emergency meeting, the Japanese leadership, but like some people didn't even turn up.
They were busy gooning, I think. I'm sorry. Ignore me.
No idea. I wouldn't know about that.
And I think it was after the second bomb was dropped that they eventually voted for the unconditional surrender, but it was split. It was a split decision.
Oh yeah.
And then that's when the emperor had to intervene, which was really unconventional.
that is the fuck, I forgot the name. They had like this commission for the direction of the war. It was composed by like fuck, I don't remember the exact people. I should Google this shit. Basically, it was members of the military, members of the navy, and some high members of government, and the emperor in basically in an observer position. And they voted on like whether they will surrender or not. And since before the nukes, they were split on unconditional surrender and a conditional surrender, and the condition was like keeping the office of the emperor. They tried to negotiate like through the Soviets, but the Soviets wanted to join the war, so the Soviets like basically just like led them on, but didn't actually do anything, just leaked all the conversations to the Americans.
So,
And
yeah, my understanding is that they dropped both of the bombs on August 6th and August 9th, and then it's on the 9th after the second bomb's been dropped that they vote 3-3, and that's when the emperor has to break the tie.
yeah, but they had been split like that for like a long time.
Yeah.
Like the bombs basically didn't change the position of the council.
Well, apart from the only thing that changed was the emperor breaking in to break the tie. That's what changed, right?
I mean, the emperor didn't break the tie. Like basically, the emperor gave the tacit approval that he was fine with like a complete unconditional surrender, and that like gave them the the will to actually accept it. He didn't have any actual power to overrule that.
That's a bad look, man. If you get nuked twice and you're still just like, nah.
True. Yeah, like the army was completely fine. Like they were they were already getting destroyed by the mass bombing campaigns. I don't think they saw it as like a particularly different thing.
Okay. What else?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of any other disagreements that I have. I think Destiny hates on BPD too much.
Hits on what?
BPD too much.
Big Billy?
BPD.
Big BPD?
Yeah, like bipolar disorder or
Borderline?
Yes, big PPD, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Borderline personality disorder, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like, and the whole like anxious versus what's the name? Anxious versus avoidant attachment styles, things like that. I feel like these are basically the same thing, but one type of people wants to get away from the problem, and one type of people wants the problem resolved right now.
Are you talking about BPD
And-
people?
Wait, did you just say these are the same thing, except here's the way they're exactly the opposite?
No, it's just the way that they cope with it. But I feel like the emotional response is the same, and I feel like if people were more empathetic towards like what the person is actually going through emotionally, I feel like it will be a lot easier for them to resolve their interpersonal issues.
Yeah, I mean, that's easy to say. I think the problem from the public perspective, though, is that if somebody wants to resolve an issue with you and you're either unwilling or you just don't want to, you like the other person will just like publicly start to blow you up to force a response, which I think is for a public figure, I think it's just really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, okay, yeah. In that sense, I do agree. I do agree with it. I feel like the best way of like dealing with BPD as a proud BPD haver, I feel like the best way to deal with people like that is like giving them like a lot of consistency. It's not about like bending over backwards to like resolve everything that they want or things like that, but like actually having like a very consistent emotional baseline and trying to deviate from that as little as possible.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think-
what you're describing is true of every single person ever, is that if you give them exactly what they want, then everything will be fine, of course.
No, I don't mean what they want. I don't mean what they want. I mean like if the response that they're gonna get is like very predictable, like in terms of like emotional closure. If you say, for example, I am not gonna deal with this right now. I'm gonna deal with. We can talk about it like tomorrow or like next week or whatever. If like over time that is a consistent pattern and they feel like issues do get resolved, I think that does help a lot. With
Yeah,
like,
but if you're able to do that, then that means that the person with BPD has already done like an immense amount of work in order to like accept that as a response, right? Because a lot of people with BPD to even accept that response that you've given would take a lot from the person with BPD.
Yeah. But I think it's a positive reinforcement cycle. I feel like once you start building that trust and like that rapport of like yes, things do get resolved and things do get better, I feel like people with BPD can do better with that.
Sure. I mean, I don't disagree. You're talking about both sides putting in a ton of work and then like ameliorating a lot of their base issues, and then yeah, I mean that's true of literally everything though, right? If a person who is dismissive or a person who is avoidant is able to not do that and be more consistent about giving timelines, and if a person who is anxious and overly attached is able to like give some space, I mean both people have done a great deal of work to alleviate their own issues. So yeah, of course, then everything would be okay if both people were doing that, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, like if people are like completely unable or unwilling to like face or deal with any of their issues, like of course, like that is completely unmanageable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like those are all the disagreements that I can think of.
Wow.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
I appreciate it. I'm glad that you all agreed with me as the Giga Chat chatter.
Obviously.
Yeah, see you guys around. Really enjoying the streams.
Be careful.
Take care, bye-bye.
Bye.
Is this the same chicken and waffles place that you took Fuentes to?
Actually, yes.
Nice.
Funnily enough.
They're good chicken and waffles.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. True.
You fed that Nazi well.
You didn't think he was a Nazi at first, right?
Fuentes?
Yeah. Or did you always think that?
And the yeah. What do you mean? Or what do you mean by they probably yes.
I thought there was a period of time where you thought he wasn't a Nazi.
No, there's just a period of time where he was making a pivot to more mainstream political stuff. So they were kind of like masking up or like toning down a bit to be a little bit more palatable to the mainstream.
I know this is your dessert, but since my dessert never came, can I take a bite out of it?
Ooh.
Your dessert didn't come.
Nope.
Nope.
Annihilated.
Sure. I've still got to get through all this chicken. I could save it.
How have you not gotten thirsty yet?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I get quite focused on one task at a time.
Can I throw the food in this trash?
Yeah, go for it.
It took me a while to realize this was all just one big piece of chicken, that I couldn't separate them.
Well, you could. You could just cut through it.
What the fuck is that?
The s'more thingy you said you wanted.
That's the sport thing I ordered.
Yes. I have no idea if it's good or not. I'm just sad I didn't get my shake. I really wanted my shake.